We wear our busyness like a badge of honor. Like we are worthless human beings if we're not busy all the time. And I'm not saying that you don't have to put in effort in life. We all have to put in effort in life. If we haven't, we wouldn't brush our teeth, I wouldn't script, film, and edit this video, and you would never start watching this video in the first place because TikTok or TV shows are far more entertaining and don't require that much effort. So we obviously have to engage in some kind of effort. But the trick is to start learning how to balance effort and ease. There are two types of effort we engage in our lives. First one is what Bethany Butzer calls upstream effort. Okay, let's tune in into our imagination and imagine that we're on a boat and we are paddling against the current of the river or water or whenever we are in this boat located. Doesn't matter. The upstream effort is what it sounds like. We're trying to paddle against the current of the river, and that looks like busyness. We are working very hard, a lot of hours in a day. We're working to the point of burning out. We're working to the point of being fed up with our work. We're not enjoying what we're doing, and that is upstream effort. And it's not our fault that we're like this, because we were growing up and people all around us were saying, and people are still saying, that you have to work hard to get something in life. Nothing comes easy. Outwork your superiors or stuff like that. Basically, any of this motivational stuff that we heard, that we need to work and grind and then relax and live our life, that is not our fault that we have this mindset and that we engage only in the first type of effort, and it's upstream effort. The effort that feels like that we're working forever but takes us really nowhere, takes us a little somewhere, you know? I mean, we all experience that after working the whole day, and it seems like whole day, and maybe it really was whole day, and you in your bed and you are going over your to-do list, and you're like, I haven't done that, I haven't done that, I also haven't done that. What did I do whole day? And it's basically what it is. You're on a boat and you're trying to paddle against the current of the river and you're not going anywhere. The same thing is with this effort. You're not going anywhere. You just basically rarely keep up where you are because you're trying to paddle against the current of the river. And second type of effort is downstream effort, which basically like going with the flow. Like we're doing something and we are forgetting the time. We're doing something and we like look up to the clock and like, oh, it's been 3 hours, it's been 30 minutes, it's been an hour. It's like going with the flow. So let's hop on this imaginary boat of ours again. And we're on the boat and we're not paddling against the current of the river anymore. We're going with the current of the river. And we're paddling and it helps us to get even further. That is what this effort is. So another reason why most of us experience only first type of effort, which is upstream type of effort, because we're taught to settle goals. We are taught that when you achieve this goal, you're gonna be happy. Not really taught, but like shown in a society that when people get a car, for example, or a house, or a new iPhone or stuff like that, and they seem kind of happy, and we think that, oh, once I get that thing, I will be happy. Once I will be on the top of my career, I will be happy, I will be satisfied, and stuff like that. And because we focus on this external thing, on this, whatever it is, maybe a car, maybe someone's approval, maybe anything like that, external. And for us, goal is more important than actually the journey towards that goal. That's why we feel upstream, because we're not enjoying this, because for us, goal is important. We don't want to put in those 10 years, all those 10 years of struggle towards our goal and suffering for something that other people said it's cool. For example, you never in your life wanted that kind of car, but everyone around you is buying that car and you're like, okay, I'm gonna work towards that car, I'm gonna buy that car. And maybe you don't want to be a doctor, but your family is like, oh, but you would be such a good doctor, you're so good with kids, you're so good with people, I can see you being a doctor. And you're going like, yeah, sure. And that is why it feels like we're going against the current of the river and we're not achieving anything, because we're trying to achieve something that would make other people happy, that would show other people like, look, I have this thing, I should be happy now, right? I have this thing, I should be satisfied now. But it doesn't work that way. And in order to go with the flow, as to say, and only have second type of effort in your life, the type of effort that helps you to do effortlessly everything, and this whole concept of achieving more by doing less is actually just enhancing your downstream effort, like enhancing the areas of your life where you can take this downstream effort and put it in there. And in order to enhance that downstream effort in your life, you have to be authentic. You have to know what are your values. You have to ask yourself, what are my values? Do I value money? Do I value freedom? Do I value joy, happiness, family? What are my values? And values are going to change throughout your life. So ask that question often. Not every hour, but like often. Not every day either. I mean, you can ask yourself every day, no harm in that. But because we're not asking ourselves this question, because we're not asking ourselves like, what are my values? What do I really want? What is success looks like for me? Because we don't ask ourselves these questions, we end up achieving something and working towards something that we never wanted. Other people said, oh, it would be cool if you could do that. Or it would be cool if you had that thing. We would think of you as superior if you had this model of an iPhone, something like that. And you worked towards it your whole life and you never really took the time out of your day to stop and ask yourself, is it something I really want? Is it my definition of success? Is it aligns with my values? And in order to enhance downstream effort, we have to be authentic with ourselves. We have to ask ourselves, honestly, what is that do we want? What is success like for us? What is our values? What is that? What is that? What is that? And just understand, by understanding yourself, you will understand your goals and your values and your dreams better, and it will help you to achieve those. Because in order to enhance that downstream effort, you have to follow your internal instinct, your internal things, and know them. You have to first know them and then follow them. Because if you're just gonna know them and you're gonna do externally what everyone wants, that doesn't really benefit your life, now does it? Because the same way you're not gonna learn how to swim by reading a book or learn how to ride a bike by reading a book. You have to put it in action. If, for example, you don't want to be a doctor and your whole family have been doctors, and you know that authentically it's not what is you want. Maybe you want to be an artist, you want to be a singer, maybe you want to be a lawyer, anything other than doctor. And you have to have courage to tell your family, tell the people in your life that you don't want to do that it would make me miserable if I would go and be a doctor. I don't want to do that. Yes, I do love kids, but I don't want to, no, mom and dad don't want to do that. And you also have to ask yourself the following question of, how do I want to feel each day? How do I want to feel each day? And there was a research, basically the person who did research, he took 4 types of people, top performers in their niche. For example, let's say musician. And he took like a lot of interviews with musicians, top performance musicians, and what they found out is that they all had a specific idea of how do they want to feel each day. Of course, they had like goals that they want to achieve, very specific goals, like for example, win Grammy in this case, but they also had a very specific idea of how they want to feel every day. And when they were faced with obstacle in life, they didn't try harder. They didn't try to burn themselves out because something bad happened. They took some time off to reflect and remind themselves how they want to feel each day. Because achieving a dream is basically a journey. And of course, you can set yourself a goal that you're gonna achieve in 10 years and like, close your eyes for 10 years, suffer and do all that, and then like open your eyes and like, oh my god, I achieved this, now I'm miserable. Alright, but what this researcher does is that he says that by reminding ourselves of our goals, in this case, our goals is how we want to feel each day, helps us to overcome obstacles and helps us to get on with our dream again. Like if some obstacle happened and we, took some time to reflect, to remind ourselves that, oh, I want to feel this, this, and this every day. It's basically reminding yourself of your dream. I mean, it's kind of, complex to understand, but basically by reminding yourself how you want to feel each day helps you to follow your dream, because basically you said something and you're gonna achieve it in 10 years. You have these 10 years each day and you have an idea of how you want to feel each day. And by reminding yourself that, it's easier for you to follow your goal because you're not really focused on that Grammy. I mean, you want Grammy, but you focus on each day. You're focused on each day, how you want to feel, how you want to do that, how you want to, because it's a journey. I don't know if you get it, but those who get it, great, because I try to explain it to best of my abilities, but at this point, I just want to go to bed. So in order to achieve more by doing less, we have to be authentic with ourselves, we have to understand our values, and also, there are 2 more points to it. We have to say no more often, because there's so many things that other people ask us that, I don't know, internet asks us. For example, new TV show is gonna air in a few days and you're like, oh, I really want to watch this TV show. But is it really necessary? Do you really have to do that? Do you really genuinely want to do that, or it's just to pass your time? Because when you say no to unnecessary things, you say yes to things that really matter. And by that, you're gonna have more time to do the things you love, more time to do that and that. For example, a friend asks you, can you pick me up in an hour, and you are in the middle of writing your song. And you're like, no, I can't. I mean, it's hard at first, but no, I can't because I'm in the middle of writing a song. And by saying no to you, I have more time on my own thing. I mean, of course, people can mistake it as being rude, but it's not really. It's just putting yourself first and being a priority for yourself, because if other people will be a priority for you, then what kind of life will you have? I have an answer for that, but let it be just in the air for some time. And second one is start using 80-20 rule. I mean, I think we all heard it by now. What is 80-20 rule? But really, not a lot of people understand what it really is. And I was one of those people until recently. So once upon a time in Italy in 19th century lived Vilfredo Pareto. I don't know if I pronounced his name right. And what he observed in his garden is that 20% of pea pods were producing 80% of healthy peas. And then he observed another thing, that 80% of Italy is owned by 20% of population. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you have a garden or if you live in Italy in 19th century or not, you can still see that in your life. For example, you wear 20% of your clothes 80% of time. Because come on, we all have that t-shirt and sweats that we basically live in. And another example is that 20% of your possessions make 80% of the mess you have. For example, you're cleaning up and it's always those 20% of your possessions that are always making a mess. And it doesn't always have to be 80-20. It's not a, universal rule or something. It can be 90-10, it can be 70-30, it can be 60-40. It doesn't always have to be 80-20, but we can all see it in our lives. Another example is that 20% of your friends give you the most joy, give you the most happiness, give you the most interactions, and you feel most fulfilled with them. They give you 80% of your joy and happiness from interactions with them. And those other 80% of people that you know give you only 20% of joy, happiness, and whatever. So by focusing on those 20% of people who give you the most, 80% of joy and happiness and fulfillment, it's better to talk to them. I'm not saying cut off those people that give you 20% of joy and whatever. The point is that majority of results come from minority of the work, and the opposite is also true. We all have 24 hours a day, and we think that the more busy we're gonna be, the more we're gonna achieve. But productive and being busy are 2 different things. It's not about being busy and working all the time. It's about how well you spend that time. You're not a robot. You can work 12, 10 hours and stuff like that. It's been scientifically proven that we only have 3 to 4 hours a day by being productive. And of course, you can go ahead and work for 12 hours. But the truth is, you're gonna be only productive for 4 or 3 hours. So go ahead, burn yourself out. Do whatever that you think is right. But I'm just talking facts here. So basically, if you can identify those 20% that give you 80% of outcome, it's gonna be easier for you. You're gonna achieve more by doing less. And I can't really tell you what are your 20% of stuff that you do that give you 80% of outcome. You have to look into your life and see for yourself and see okay, I do that. That doesn't really help. That doesn't really give me that much of outcome. So let's go to the next one and just look at those activities that you do throughout the day and group them. Those that are give you 80% of results, that you're focusing 20% of your time. And those that are giving you 20% of results, even though you're focusing on it a lot. Just go over every activity, every important activity you do throughout the day, and you're gonna find them and just focus on them. Okay, that is all I have to say for today. Thank you for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next video, or in a few seconds if you want to watch any of my video. And love you. Bye!